start segment, there are some pretty grisly injuries, and sometimes people even worse than getting injured. But if you're from my generation, you remember the beginning of Wild World of Sports and the agony of defeat and that guy coming down the ski ramp. And the time they thought, why not we just have a wood shack right next to the right next to the ski ramp. But that was more of a wipeout, than an injury. Like to me, the one that will always stay with me was the Joe Theismann one on Monday Night Football. Lawrence Taylor sacks him and his leg snaps in half. The wrong way, mid shin, like a toothpick. Brutal. Now, luckily, last time I saw Joe, he was taking a free cookie from me at Arlington National Cemetery. That's a true statement, and taken out of context, that sounds very bizarre. He took a free cookie from me from Arlington National Cemetery. True story. But saw one yesterday. First of all, a non-contact injury, which are always sad. Those are usually your ACL. When you think somebody kicks you really hard from behind, you turn around, you're like, hey, what's the big idea? Wait, no one's there. Uh-oh. I think Kurt Warner, before there was Kurt Warner, there was Kurt Warner. He was the first-round pick out of Penn State. He was an amazing running back in college. Kurt Warner with a C, and he was a first-round pick of the Seahawks, and he was running at the Kingdome, and he planted to turn back in, and his feet caught in the bad AstroTurf, and his knee was destroyed. I think it was MCL, ACL, PCL. And then that was kind of the first time when people said, we really have to get rid of this artificial turf. And back then, AstroTurf, I mean, if you ask anybody who played at the Astrodome for the Oilers or against them, it was just a green outdoor carpet laid on cement. They kind of thought in the 70s, well, if it looks like grass, shouldn't it feel like grass? Then someone said, well, why don't we get a pad underneath? And now the artificial turf, they're actually strands, blades of fake grass. Still not great. But so for me, the Theismann one and Kurt Warner, those were very famous. And then, you just go through the years. I'm sure you have your own version of something. When I played football, I saw my fair share of injuries. I certainly had a lot of contusions and banged up and bruised and bleeding like we all did. I never broke a bone playing football, but I did break my collarbone playing college lacrosse because of those dinky little shoulder pads, and I nailed somebody like I had real shoulder pads on, and that was it. Snapped right in half. All righty then. But the worst one I saw was in practice where I was playing safety and there was a pile and the linebackers at the bottom of the pile just screaming. And normally you scream, I've been at bottoms of piles and you're screaming because you're getting squished and you really can't breathe. You have 1,000 pounds of fat, dumb jocks on top of you, right? Why they got to be dumb? But this guy was screaming, and we got up, and his foot was facing the wrong way. And I was like, brutal. But this is all a lead up to the Golden State Warriors last night, beating the Mavericks in overtime. Two teams playing out the string. How can you say that? The Warriors are a playing team. All right. Kind of playing out the string. But it was a nice play by Moses Moody of Golden State to steal the ball off Cooper Flagg and go down for a dunk. And it was so weird because right when he took off in midair, it was like pull, skeet shooting. Jump, halfway up to the rim, he just buckles in pain and falls down. And play continued following a missed Max Christie three-pointer. But then after that, everyone was like, what's going on? And then Moses Moody looks down, and it's one of those things like, oh, no. Kerr said, I saw the look on the Mavericks' faces. Everyone on the floor was just horrified. Players care about players. They know how fragile this business is and how short their careers are and how injuries can happen and can be catastrophic. We don't know what it is yet. We're just hoping for the best. I remember playing adult soccer in Golden Gate Park where our co-ed team won the San Francisco championship. I was the goalie. Yes, yes, yes. But then in the next season, I remember coming down very hard on it. I heard a and my kneecap looked like it was pushed in like an inch. And I'm like, that doesn't look right. I had to end up getting knee surgery, tore my PCL and meniscus, and my kneecap was poked in. Yeah, that ain't good. But Moses Moody, I mean, it looked like not only did he have no kneecap, it was so concave you could put your entire fist into his knee. Brutal, brutal. You had Brandon Pajemski said it wasn't even the first time the Warriors have had this season because he said, same as what happened to Jimmy. Not really words. You hate to see it, especially to good people in life. Well, it was a different injury, but that's what he was saying. Jimmy Butler got hurt. And, you know, as I said, there was no ongoing thing where you kind of feel like, yes, a perfect transition to my next interview. We're talking about knee replacement. You think about, guys getting hurt, but sometimes it's like, uh-oh. Like when Curry had his ankle problems when he was young, and that's why a lot of fans said, don't sign him. I said, do sign him. Don't sign him. And then he does his ankle, and you're like, oh, there it is. There it is. But the Warriors are 4 games under. They're virtually locked into a play-in seed no matter what happens. So the concern is now longer term. That's why this whole thing about, and I understand when is Curry coming back, because the Warriors aren't worth watching, honestly. There's not a lot to watch. So when is Curry coming back? Excuse me. So those people who fork out at the Chase Center here in San Francisco. I don't want to see, Sideshow Bob. I don't want a guy who looks like a stoner or a meth head from Santa Clara. I want to see Steph Curry. When is he coming back? I paid good money. Well, as a Warrior fan, I wish they would just shut him down, get him 100%, and then have one more go at it next year. Not saying give up for next year. No, I'm saying this year ain't nothing going down. Nothing's going down but the rent. Ain't nothing going down but the rent. I had to figure that song out when I first heard it when I was 10 years old. What does that mean? It's like, oh, when some guy goes up to her and girl goes, what's going down, girl? What's going down? Ain't nothing going down but the rent. Oh, so you want me to pay the rent and then start trying to pick up on you? Yes. All right. More kneecaps on the other side.
Keep listening for details on how to get up to $300 airline credit. Sky Holidays introduces a one-of-a-kind air credit program. Our buying team got a little too aggressive in getting hotel and air deals, so now we have to liquidate our prices. Here's how. Whether you want to go to Paris, Las Vegas, London, Atlanta, Hawaii, or anywhere else in the world, we have amazing deals. Book a selected hotel and we'll give you up to $300 airline credit. Now you can book your vacation and get a free credit to use towards airline travel. We'll book both, airline and hotel, with one simple phone call. We have access to most airlines and deals on thousands and thousands of places to stay. Call right now, book your hotel rooms, claim your airline credit. You can change or modify it at any time. 800-256-4816. 800-256-4816. That's 800-256-4816.
It's more than a rebellion. When your teen is slipping into drugs or alcohol, when social media and pornography consume their time and their mind, when depression and even suicidal thoughts cast a shadow over your home, as a parent, you feel powerless. There is hope. At Turnabout Ranch, troubled teens step away from the chaos and into a clarity of nature on a working cattle ranch. Care for horses, learn responsibility, build trust, and rediscover purpose. It isn't theory, it's real work. Real therapy, real healing. Families from across the country have found transformation right here, just when they thought hope was gone. If your teen is struggling with addiction, harmful online behaviors, even weight management, call right now and get the help you all need.
800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. That's 800-219-2494.
Sometimes life changes, and the house you once loved becomes a burden. Too many repairs, too many memories, too much to handle on your own. If you'd like to sell your home fast, we can help. At the Home Buyers Hotline, we can help you sell your home as is. No cleaning, no showings, and there are absolutely no hidden fees or real estate commissions. We'll pay you a fair price for your home in cash. Whether you're downsizing, handling an estate, or just ready for peace of mind, call us. We'll help you walk away from your problem property in no time at all and get you the cash in your bank account with little hassles. If you'd like to sell your home fast, as is, we can help at the Home Buyers Hotline.
Call Want to Sell Your Home now for a free quote to sell your home in any condition. Call 800-950-3143. 800-950-3143. That's 800-950-3143.
I'm not insightful enough to be a movie critic. Maybe I could be a food critic. These muffins taste bad. Or an art critic. That painting is bad.
Why can't you say you talk to me? You're already thinking about someone else. When it comes home, your bed is on and I'll be gone. But I know my day will come. I know someday I'll be the only one. So now you wait for a spark.
I'm so disgusted by Rick Tittle that I find him very intoxicating.
Thank you for that, and welcome back to the show. Rick Tittle with you coast to coast and around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. And we are now joined by Dr. John Kolibanoff, and also we are joined by Eric W. He wants to keep it secret. We're going to talk about something from Zimmer Biomet, and that is knee replacement. And every year, just under 1 million Americans get a knee replacement, but a lot of them delay treatment believing that it's really for the elderly, and that's not necessarily true. Dr. Kolibanoff, thanks for coming on the show. Tell us a little bit more about where we are in 2026 with this health issue, please.
Certainly I will, Rick, and I just want to make a quick shout out to the American service personnel, former military myself. Hearing that you're on the Armed Forces Network is really refreshing. So thank you to all that the people do for our country. Osteoarthritic disease is incredibly common. It's the loss of cartilage inside a joint. It eliminates the gliding and cushioning function. And we anticipate that by the year 2030, nearly 4 million Americans may require a joint replacement, and greater than 60% of them are under the age of 65. This means that too many of them may delay treatment. They'll be living in pain. They'll have decreased mobility. It impacts their ability to work and make a living. It impacts their ability to stay active. And yet we have a population now that wants to be fully active into their 70s and 80s. And it's just not possible when they suffer from this condition.
Eric W. is with us, a recipient of this from Zimmer Biomet. And Eric, for you, I understand the reticence of wanting to get, an artificial knee. And so you figure, look, I'll rehab it, I'll deal with it. When did you get to the point where the osteoarthritis was so painful, you're like, all right, that's it, I'm done?
Well, Rick, I was dealing with some pretty severe knee pain for over 3 years, and I kept kidding myself that it was going to get better on its own or that some temporary treatments would get me through it. But it really did just get worse, and it got to the point where I couldn't enjoy my sports anymore. I couldn't enjoy my activities. I couldn't travel for work or for vacation, and it even became painful to walk my dogs. So it was about a year and a half ago I was going for another knee injection, and that had not offered me very much relief. And I had already been educated by my doctor about knee implants and knee replacement surgery and the kind of implant that's custom designed for your own anatomy. And I decided on that day not to continue with the injections and to schedule the surgery. I had waited too long.
So when I look at Dr. Klibanoff, I don't know if you saw the NBA game between Golden State and Dallas last night, but Moses Moody, non-contact injury, midair, it looked like his kneecap became 6 inches concave. I mean, is that the type of thing, either laugh or cry about it, but is that the type of thing that sort of leads down the road to this? Or is this just a thing like where our knees are just all going to wear out?
Well, osteoarthritic disease, anything that damages cartilage can lead to it. So it can be a traumatic event, like you described, or it can be something that's much more gradual, just with the activities of daily living. And the problem is that once cartilage is damaged, it is a process that does not stop. It doesn't abate. It may go slower or more quickly. There are things you can do to maybe slow it down a little bit, but until it is treated, it will continue to progress.
So, Eric, what happened when you pick up your phone and it's Arnold Schwarzenegger? What was that all about?
Well, it's quite a surprise. He's inspired me in many ways for over 50 years. And his title at Zimmer Biomet is Chief Movement Officer. And I share my story with Zimmer Biomet as a part of their campaign called you'llbeback.com. And I'm honored that my story stood out to Arnold.
And Dr. Klibanoff, I know you said you were in the military, but you really did serve us well as a lieutenant colonel and Gulf Wars, plural. What was it like, though, when you were dealing, because I know I've interviewed a lot of people with the VA afterwards, and the VA in the last 20 years has completely redone everything. They have some amazing doctors and amazing facilities. But when you're dealing with, like combat injuries and people being wounded, what was that like for you?
Well, I mean, personally, it was an absolute honor to serve the American service personnel and to help them back to health and care of the forces. And that's obviously the most sort of extreme of injuries. But again, it funnels back into our population wanting to remain active. And as we look at the ability to make a difference, sure, I had time in the military, which I'm happy and proud of. I had time as an orthopedic surgeon in private clinical practice. But I saw the need for innovation as we moved into this younger population, which is why I joined Zimmer Biomet about a year and a half ago. And this need to increase the awareness, to get treatments to people at a younger age, that's why Eric joined us as part of our You'll Be Back initiative, which is highlighted by Governor Schwarzenegger as one of our chief movement officers. We have, as a company, taken all of the data and information over the past several decades about the size and shape, the nature of injury to the point that you brought up, and tried to customize the implant profile, full replacements, partial replacements, personalized matching of patients' conditions to the types of things that can be offered them through med tech industry. We have a smart implant called Persona IQ, which tracks the mobility of a joint during the recovery of the patient. And what we found, fortunately, is that when you do that, when you innovate to that degree, patients do better. They have less pain, they have a better outcome, they have better longevity of their replacement parts, and like Eric, they can get back to activities that 20, 25 years ago was really not foreseen as the outcome of joint replacement.
I want to ask you, too, before I let you go, Doctor, that I did my knee playing soccer 20 years ago when I was 40, which makes me sound pretty old. But my surgeon was the Cal football orthopedist, and I had torn my PCL, and he said, let's just leave it torn. Your leg is strong. It's not worth it. And I didn't know about that, but 20 years later, it's fine. So sometimes no, no surgery is the answer, right?
Well, again, we can't ever generalize off any individual, but having the counsel of a surgeon involved in your care early. So you, for example, you have a knee that's hurt or injured, you go to you'llbeback.com. There's information there that's available so you can do your homework. If you don't have a physician, we have a physician finder so you can find somebody like you did in their area who hopefully is an expert to counsel you back to health. And sure, not every painful joint requires surgery. But if you have one that does, you don't want to miss the opportunity to intervene early because that impacts your outcome.
And then finally, Eric, I'm sure you probably thought, oh, it's going to feel weird as hell. I'm going to feel like, C3PO, whatever. How is it all working out for you?
I was prepared for a much more difficult recovery than I experienced. I was faithful to my physical therapy, and now I'm back at the gym every day. But the highlight of my recovery is coming in 3 weeks when my daughter gets married. And as a result of my new knee, I'll be able to dance at her wedding, whether she likes it or not.
Well, you can at least walk her down the aisle, right?
I'm going to dance with her, no question.
All right, good stuff. We've been speaking with Dr. John Klibanoff and Eric W., and courtesy of Zimmer Biomet. And go to you'llbeback.com for more. Gentlemen, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
All right. And anyway, get it? You'll be back. I'll be back. I'm a friend of Sarah Connor. I was told she was here. I remember a few years ago, 2017 maybe. No, maybe earlier. 2014, whatever it was. Ken Korak, the voice of the A's, was getting a artificial knee. And Johnny Doskow from the Sacramento River Cats, which was the A's AAA at the time, he came down and filled in very nicely. Johnny's a really good guy. And I ran into him last year, and he said, last time I saw you was in the press elevator, and he gave me the year. I was like, wow, you got a better memory than I do. But anyway, my point was, Ken was down for the count for a long time. And it wasn't because anything was weird. It's just that's how humans dealt with knee replacements back then. And it couldn't have been more than 10 years ago. So we've come a long way since that time with such things. All right. We're going to take our fake knees out onto a boat next. And also, we might even dine with royals with Karen Lyle. Come on back on Sports Byline.
With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Call us to get your Care Watch right now.
800-853-8931. 800-853-8931. 800-853-8931. That's 800-853-8931.
I've got a question for you. Do you want a lower car payment just by making a phone call? You know, most people buy a car and they pay whatever the car dealer says their interest rate is, and they forget about it and make payments. But did you know there is a secret in your contract that allows another company to refinance any car payment to try and lower it? It's true. There is indeed a company out there that knows the ins and, more importantly, the outs on car loans, and they know how to lower your current car payments. It's easy and fast, and you could have a lower car payment next month. Make this free call right now and find out if you could lower your existing car payment. Call the Car Savings Hotline right now. The call is free.
Call now. 800-605-1680. 800-605-1680. 800-605-1680. That's 800-605-1680.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who help people that have been injured or wronged. If you've been involved in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or injured at work, you have rights, and you may be entitled to money for your suffering. Don't accept an offer you get from an insurance company until you talk to a lawyer. And we represent some of the best personal injury lawyers you can find. Tough lawyers that will fight to win your case. And they're so good they stake their reputation on it by only getting paid if you win. So if you've been in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or hurt on the job, find out today for free what kind of compensation you may be entitled to. Call the legal helpline right now.
800-401-5163. 800-401-5163. 800-401-5163. That's 800-401-5163.
All right, thank you so much, and welcome back to the show. Rick Tittle with you, and it's 9:40 on a Tuesday, and that's when Karen Lyle will now co-host this segment with me. She is from SailSportTalk.com. We do have a pre-recorded interview we're going to play in a couple of minutes with Karen's interview in London with Helen Esmond of the Company of Stationers and Newspaper Makers, of which Karen is a liveryman of. But, Karen, welcome to the show. I know you had an opportunity to dine with Princess Anne, who, of course, is the sister of the King of England, and I was always interested in Princess Anne is an Olympian, and her daughter Zara was an Olympian as well on the equestrian, and she's been, over the years in British media, been teased and such things. I know Aaron Doherty played her in the Crown, and she was very sassy. How did that all come to be that you had a lunch with her?
Well, I've been adopted by of course the military, the armed forces, private clubs in Westminster. So I have the royal family is very much a part of that scene, and Princess Anne the royal princess now. Her Royal Highness, the Royal Princess Anne is the official title, I guess. When His Majesty King Charles became king, then her title also changed. But really, they are so involved in charity work and also just supporting the officers who are helping, the country in so many ways and the world. And so she's the president of the In and Out Naval and Military Club. And her father, Prince Philip, was one of the founding people who was very involved in the president for many years. So when she took on that responsibility of being president, and it's an honorary title, she doesn't have duties, but she comes, and she has dinner with, when it's members only event, which was what this is. Every year there's a club members dinner that only members attend, and it's very formal. When she comes, you have a trumpet fanfare, and there are the officers with the beaver hats on. I do not remember their names as far as the role, but on the stairs going up, and she enters in, and everybody proceeds, and then she and the chairman of the In and Out Naval and Military Club come in together at the end, and everybody's seated. So there's quite a bit of formality around these things. A lot of, but it seems very natural and normal to me now because I'm in it so much that I was noticing that it doesn't seem unusual for me to go in, take my place, stand behind a chair, and everybody stand in, and we'll all get seated. And we don't really do that here in America very much. I don't think I've ever been in a dinner where we handle things quite that way.
Just one more quick thing before we go to the interview. I remember when I was a kid, guy tried to kidnap Princess Anne out of her car. 3 people ended up getting shot, and when they tried to pull her out, she said, "Not bloody likely," and she slapped him. And 3 people got shot, and she said, "I'm not getting out," and slapped him. That's when you know you have royal cojones, right?
She has so much. She's amazing. She's one of the very beloved of the royal family, and we're just privileged to have her.
All right, so real quick, an intro to the interview we're going to play that you did with Helen Esmond, please.
Well, this is partially in for you and for Dominic and for Darren and for Ron Barr, because we received a warrant again this year for excellence in programming for Sail Sport Talk by one of the most ancient livery companies, which is the Company of Stationers and Newspaper Makers. And Helen Esmondi was the first woman master of that company and is a friend of mine. And so I interviewed her here to give a little background on, why an ancient company is reaching forward to give us a recognition of a stationer's warrant.
Okay,
this
and
is
here
Karen Lyle of Sail Sport Talk, and it is my pleasure to be with past master Helen Esmond. And Helen, can you tell us a little bit about the Worshipful Company of Stationers and Newspaper Makers, when they began, and how you became the first woman master?
Well, Stationers goes back to 1403. Coming forward a little bit, the 612 years later, they decided it was possibly time to have their first woman master.
And I just have to pause and appreciate that it took a little while.
It did take a little while there, as you can see. And so my background fitted into Stationers because my background was publishing and stationery. I went to an industry meeting and made that age-old mistake of asking a question.
And questions lead to actions, I think. Now, one thing I might mention is that we are in London, and these livery companies are in London, and we are actually now in the In and Out Naval and Military Club in St. James Square. The Stationers Hall is right near to St. Paul's. You also reached out to the North America to include people, which is one of the reasons that I'm part of this Stationers company as a liveryman. Can you tell us what your vision was for that?
Well, certainly there are strong connections, and as we all know, in terms of publishing and media and communications now, hugely strong links between publishers in the UK and publishers in North America. I actually worked in Toronto for McGraw-Hill as an editor early in my career. So I have an interest in that, and a great friend is very much involved in the publishing scene in New York. So I asked her and a stationer who was traveling a lot to the States at the time if they would help me get the North American contingent going. Indeed, they did, and it's grown, and the strong links actually continue to grow. Both with individuals and also with institutions in the States.
It's really a privilege to be part of this, and so many people intersect London anyway, because people usually who are in the North American contingent are in London quite a bit.
Absolutely. Stationers Hall, which is a Grade 1, beautiful Grade 1 listed building, and one of the oldest, on the three oldest livery halls in the city, is by St Paul's. Our archives are of huge international interest, including the registration of Shakespeare's First Folio, because from early, basically from about the time of Mary Tudor, when we got our charter, all books were registered at Stationers Hall, so it became the home of copyright. And we've had a recent visit from the chief librarian at the Folger Library, and he was, I would say, almost overcome with emotion to, despite everything that surrounds him at the Folger, to see the original registration, both of Shakespeare's work in his lifetime and of the First Folio.
It is an amazing experience. Helen, you also started something else new, and that was the Stationers' Warrants to represent excellence in printing, in broadcasting, and newspaper making. When you first put that together, what was the inspiration for that?
I think the inspiration was really to celebrate excellence and to celebrate that using the platform of such an ancient institution where, you know, we had excellence in terms of publishing and other skills for over 600 years. My own business was really formed on credible partnerships, and I knew that having major and significant partnerships helped a business greatly to grow and to be highly thought of. And I felt that the warrants would give that seal of approval and great connection both to heritage and to innovation. Certainly, my vision was for something that would grow as a sign of excellence throughout our industries.
Well, and now it continues on without your input, in the sense that there are committees who sit down and every year choose people who will be part of the warrant. And this year it was Private Client Sports Inc. and Sales Sport Talk, which is our show, was chosen as one of the warrant recipients for the second year. And it was certainly a privilege and honor to be in Stationers Hall to receive that on behalf of the company. One thing that I wanted to ask is, you've also written a book. And the book has 114, is it 114 livery companies in it?
Absolutely right. There are actually 114 livery companies now. It was a great experience doing this book, and it was because I wanted to share the experience of being master, the joy of going to other livery halls, the extraordinary history of the livery companies, and how it mirrors the whole growth of the city and our nation's economy, really from wool to digital.
Well, and the thing that amazes me about the livery companies, too, is their charitable outreach and how they help encourage and support the trade. Stationers Company is very actively involved in the trade.
I love the charitable side of the livery companies. It's huge, and it stretches across the whole livery movement and has done throughout its lifetime. We support education and, of course, our industries, and those two very often linked together.
Stationers Company has really embraced the future, has it not?
Certainly, we continue to be a platform for discussing current issues, AI and copyright being the home of copyright. The issue of AI and copyright is very pertinent at the moment. And also things like social media and education and the young. These are all things that we want to make sure we are a current platform and discussing those both nationally and internationally.
Well, thank you so much, Helen, for being on our show. Can you tell us the name of your book? I mean, I have it too, but you're going to tell our audience of 100 million people.
Well, that's great. We'll be going to a reprint for sure. It's called The City Unlocked, and it does seem to be selling well here, so we'd love to share it with our friends.
Thank you so much, Helen Esmonde. This is Karen Lyle of Sales Sport Talk.
Thank you, and a great pleasure to talk to you.
Do you have a book? Get it out of your mind and make it a real book with a free guide to book publishing. Trying to publish a book yourself can be complicated. It takes a lot of time. Time that you could spend writing your book or even more books. Do what you do best. We can do the rest. Thousands of authors across the nation have trusted our book publishing service. We have the connections to help you get your book printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, and bookstores nationwide. We can do it faster than you can on your own. Get your free guide to publishing. It's a free phone call. Remember, make this free call right now and learn how to turn your book into something real that people can buy. Get your free writer's guide. Call right now, 800-482-8399, 800-482-8399, 800-482-8399. That's 800-482-8399.
Do you have Medicare and do you use a CPAP machine? This is a national healthcare alert regarding your CPAP supplies. Using a clean CPAP mask and clean supplies is important to staying healthy. The best way to make sure your CPAP equipment is clean is to get new supplies. If you have Medicare, we have great news. Medicare will pay for you to have new clean supplies every 90 days. We'll even do all the paperwork for you to make sure that there's little to no out-of-pocket cost to you. And you don't even have to leave your home. We provide free in-home delivery. So if you're a CPAP user and you have Medicare, staying healthy with new CPAP equipment is easy. Just make this free phone call right now to get started.
Sponsored by Specialty Medical. 800-913-9739. 800-913-9739. 800-913-9739. That's 800-913-9739.
Special alert for consumers struggling to pay taxes. There are new tax regulations, not published yet. We have the inside track on your new tax savings. These programs are designed to help struggling taxpayers like you. The COVID relief programs are gone, but there are new programs to help struggling taxpayers, and we have the inside track. Call now and we'll take you through these new programs. These taxpayer savings programs have never been available until now. Get out of tax trouble now. It doesn't take weeks. It can happen in one phone call. Call now and get the inside track to get rid of your tax problems.
Call the tax helpline now. 800-949-0039. 800-949-0039. 800-949-0039. That's 800-949-0039.
I hope I don't see you for a while. Getting sick of you.
Take your sick ass in the hospital.
Rick Tittle can usually be found at He Baby Mama House.
Thank you for that, and welcome back to this show. Rick Tittle with you. Randy Bennett is leaving St. Mary's College. He's the men's head basketball coach at Arizona State now. He's from Mesa. He was a basketball player in high school when he was in Mesa, which is a suburb of Phoenix. It's just south of Scottsdale. And Randy Bennett was at St. Mary's for 25 years. And it's hard to believe because I remember so many years where the Gales sucked. And when he took over the team, I think they were like 2-20 something. They were an absolute joke. And he got that Australian pipeline going, and then he started getting some of the Balkans, some of those countries coming in. And, he coached two guys who have NBA rings, and Patty Mills, and unfortunately Matthew Dellavedova, because that was with the Cavs when the Warriors lost. But they immediately did St. Mary's name Mickey McConnell head coach 5 seconds later. There was no nationwide search. Mickey McConnell, to me, was a vastly overrated guard. He used to drive me crazy as a St. Mary's fan. people be like, Mickey McConnell, and he would take these threes that would just brick, and then he'd get picked. He wasn't as bad as Brandon Pajemski. He wasn't that bad. But anyway, he's been on the staff for some 7 years. It's a seamless transition. He knows Moraga as well as anyone. But Randy Bennett took them as far as they could possibly go. And he put them on the mid-major map. You could say they were already a mid-major. No, they weren't. Look at, Portland State, or look at Pepperdine right now. When I say those names, do you want to play for those schools? No. Do you want to play for St. Mary's? Yeah, you might, because you'll probably go to March Madness, and it's a good little liberal arts school, and there are plenty of good little liberal arts schools. I mean, Pepperdine has the best campus in America. It's right on the beach in those hills there, but you're not going to go there if you're a good athlete. So I congratulate Randy Bennett for putting St. Mary's on that mid-major map, making them known. Instead of saying, wait, is it Mount St. Mary's? Is it St. Mary's College of Minnesota? No, it's St. Mary's, not of anything. Well, of California. No. It's just St. Mary's. So I thank him for that. And I wish him luck. I like the Sun Devils. Come on back. We got 2 more hours.